afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's session, Embracing AI-Driven Pipeline Generation Without Losing the Coveted Human Touch. Thank you, Signals, for bringing us all together today here for the Talk AI Summit. My name is Nina Butler. I am the current Chief of Staff for Regie.ai, the only AI native sales engagement platform on the market. And a little bit about myself. Ironically, my professional and personal life has always been rooted in the power of human spirit. And as I've worked over my career for some of the most cutting edge technologies in the B2B marketing and sales space, I'm constantly thinking about how we can preserve the role of the human amidst all of this technological innovation. So it's a bit ironic working for an AI company when I'm really passionate about preserving the power of human in business. But today I'm here to talk to you all because we're all gathered at Talk AI Summit to discuss one thing, right? It's how to best take advantage of these AI technologies as they're rapidly reshaping how we organize our teams and our businesses around this innovation. Now, in particular, what I'm going to discuss today is about the rise of AI agents, which I'm sure is becoming much more of a household name now, how they threaten to collapse the technological structure and systems that businesses have relied on for decades to get work done, right? It's a big idea. But are AI agents really enough to get us out of our pipeline slump in particular, right? I think about all the time, there is always a shortage of pipeline in business, right? So are AI agents really going to be the secret sauce that help unlock things in brand new ways for businesses? Well, in this session, I'm actually going to break down why embracing more of a hybrid approach, one that marries all this advanced AI with human oversight, is actually going to be the key to unlocking our team's prospecting potentials. But to kick things off here, right, what is really the state of prospecting today? Well, simply put, there is much more work involved in generating pipeline today than there ever has been before. And a couple of these stats are pretty eye-opening, and I'm sure you can see yourself in them too, right? First and foremost, 75% of execs are saying that improvement in rep level activity volume is critical for their businesses. In other words, they need more out of their reps, right? The reps are doing the reps and sets, but they need more. But counter to that, 77% of reps are saying, I'm struggling to complete all the assigned tasks I already have today. So coach, I don't know how you want more out of me. I'm giving you all that I got, right? And to wrap this all up, ironically enough, over the past few decades, all this technological innovation, all these tools, platforms, and services that have been produced to actually help reps get this core prospecting work done is actually just leading to a less is more mindset, right? They're doing less with more. And 66% of reps are actually drowning in the tools that were built to help them. But amidst all this uphill battle that many prospecting teams are facing, there are these three undercurrents that are really pulling prospecting sales teams forward today. And the first trend here is AI innovation, right? I don't have to belabor this point. It's why we've all dialed into the Talk AI Summit today. Every single business leader is looking about how to critically incorporate AI into their core business workflows. So the demand for AI is there, and the teams that adapt it, embrace it, are going to be the ones that thrive. The second trend that are really pulling sales teams forward today and helping them think of much more differently about how business and work gets done inside their organizations is this forever quest for consolidation. Everyone you talk to is looking to consolidate. I guarantee that if we have 100 people dialed in right now, 94 of you have plans in place or are strongly considering how to collapse your tech stack in the next 12 months. Now, these changes to the technological infrastructure that threaten to collapse all this legacy tech stack is happening in really exciting ways. I'll get to that in just a minute. But the long and short of it is businesses are really thinking critically about how lean they can start to pare back their core go-to-market operations from a tech standpoint. And then the last and arguably most compelling trend here is this desire for rep workflow simplification, right? This is really the heartbeat of what I just started today's presentation with, which is 3/4 of sales leaders need more from their reps, and 3/4 of reps are saying, I'm giving you all that I got, right? There is something fundamentally broken in terms of the rep workflow today that needs to be dramatically simplified so reps can start to produce at the levels they once were able to. But how did we get to a place where reps are doing less with more? Well, for decades, enterprise leaders, I'm sure like many of you dialed in today, they've been playing these very sophisticated games of Jenga, adding these precarious layers to their tech stacks over time. And this stack was really designed to get mission critical work done And every layer they added, they hoped would bring more levels of productivity, netting better outcomes for their team. But each addition has fallen short, right? If they hadn't, we wouldn't be in these pipeline predicaments and these activity level predicaments that we are today. 66% of reps are drowning in tools, right? So somehow along the way, our tower of Jenga blocks has become unstable. Now, Jaya Gupta from Foundation Capital has this very interesting thesis that discusses soon these legacy systems of technology are going to collapse into a singular cohesive framework, which she's calling a system of agents. And the real nuance and disruption with these systems of agents is they don't just improve these existing software layers that we've built over time, they actually completely dismantle it in really exciting and innovative ways. So I'll kind of take you through the story arc, the evolution of these systems, and I'll really break down the promise and the pitfall along the way, right? To understand how we've gotten to this very disruptive level of systems of agents that are starting to permeate our businesses today. So if we go back into the 1980s, right, this is really when systems of record began materializing. And a lot of the software that started to be built in the 80s and beyond were designed with a singular focus, and that was storing and processing business critical data, right? Over time, right, over the decades, these systems of record spawned giants and household names as we know them, like SAP and Oracle and Salesforce, of course, right? But the real pitfall of this innovation was that these programs were built for utility rather than usability, right? Find me a sales rep that's hygienic with Salesforce, I dare you, right? It's an impossibility, or it's incredibly rare. And if you did, hang on to that rep tightly. Now, this lack of usability really spawned this next generation of innovation in the mid 2000s, which was the usability problems giving rise to our systems of engagement. And so these particular systems were designed with much more of an intuitive, user-friendly interface that could actually connect to these underlying systems of record. But ironically, these systems of engagement created brand new problems. While they successfully made the software much more accessible, much more intuitive, right? They actually generated exponentially more unstructured data across different mediums now, like text and audio and video, right? This was an ability for us to uncover a lot more about our buyers and their signals and their behaviors and their data points, but it was generating it in a way that actually made it hard to go back and reuse for our business's benefit. So then enter our systems of intelligence. This is in 2017, Greylock's Jerry Chen kind of coined this phrase, systems of intelligence. And it was actually something that lived between our systems of record and our systems of engagement. And it was much more of an action layer, right? It was designed to take all this data and repurpose it in a way, apply a degree of intelligence to it, and then act on it in a way that would propel the momentum of our customers through our journeys, right? This gave birth to some household names like Clary's and Outreaches of the World, right? But these systems still suffered from a fatal architecture flaw. Twofold. One, they remain dependent upon manual data entry, right? Those systems don't run unless a rep logs in every day and clicks the button and executes the tasks. And number two, they were not actually handled to build and make sense of all that unstructured data that was being generated from the systems of engagement, right? So enter today these systems of agents. And this is what a lot of people are predicting will be a complete dismantler of those, since the 1980s levels of innovation. And instead of adding more and more layers, the market is actually experiencing this true paradigm shift already inside their businesses. Now, you can think about these systems of agents as these autonomous AI entities that will completely collapse everything that we've known to be true, right? SaaS as a collective will be completely bedrocked by this. And so now these data models, these delivery models, these interfaces, right, all these things that have been manufactured over the past 4 decades are going to be completely reimagined. And this type of disruption just simply wasn't possible before agents hit the scene, right? But it does beg the question, are AI agents enough to address that earlier sales activity gap, like I mentioned, right? AI agents are able to capitalize on 2, but not fully 3 of those trends that I talked about are dominating prospecting sales teams today. They certainly check the AI innovation box. They certainly check the tech consolidation box, right? Some folks argue that, what used to be 10 to 12 pieces of rev tech software required to prospect might actually just turn into one centralized agent that's able to make sense of all that data and autonomously act on it, right? But it does not fully solve the rep workflow simplification problem. AI agents dramatically improve it, but it's not the full picture. And I actually think that making this end-to-end workflow completely owned and completely optimized by AI agents alone is an over-rotation. And you start to see in market, there are some solutions out there, there are some businesses out there that are going all in on, let's call it an AI SDR or some sort of AI digital worker. But when you strip the human out of that experience, you're actually going to be left with an experience gap. And the reason that I say that is all because of what tasks humans versus AI excel at today. Now, you can think about this in the context of a human, right? Of you and I. People say, oh, she's left brain dominated or he's right brain dominated, right? Well, what exactly does that mean? It tends to mean that you are partial and have a preference to certain task types, right? When people are described as left brain, they tend to be a bit more logical and analytical and data numerically oriented, right? Whereas your right brain tasks tend to be a bit more creative, more intuition based, require empathy and nuance, right? And when you think about what an AI agent excels at today and what humans excel at today, well, you can think about it really similarly. AI is going to be superior to human when it comes to consistently executing repeatable left brain aligned tasks, right? So think about these things like list building, right? Sorting through a bevy of intent signals, determining what the next best action could be for your buyer based on all that data, right? These are examples of critical work that must get done in the broader prospecting workflow that AI is going to do exponentially more consistently, more accurately, more predictably than even the best sales rep ever could, right? These are perfect examples of work that are appropriate to be transferred over to AI agents today. But this is where it gets interesting. When you still think about the critical tasks required, again, to execute prospecting and eventually develop pipeline, there are a litany of right brain aligned tasks that still need to be done. And these are things that should still be uniquely owned by your reps. A great example of this is cold calling, right? Again, there are examples out there of AI agents owning the full kit and caboodle. But in my perspective, hitters want to hit, right? Your reps that have been trained to be exemplary constituents of your brand, right? They're going to thrive on the phone when they are conversing with another human being, right? They are going to be able to handle real-time objections, pick up on nuances and social cues, right? In a way that AI is not able to successfully master today. And so when you think about, in the grand scheme of all the work to be done, how can you responsibly divvy up said work between humans and agents? This view can help you, right? So as we see it, leaders like you dialing in today actually need to be embracing both a stack and a strategy that leverages this idea of tech as a teammate. And it's one that's going to combine what reps have been doing and finding success in with the best of what this innovation around agentic AI has to offer. And so this is exactly how you can think about embracing an AI-driven pipeline generation strategy without losing the human touch. So in this particular example, I'll orient you to the visual. As you move left to right here, two things are happening. As you start on the left, these are experiences that I believe should be dominated and owned by rep excellence, right? As you move farther away, this is where you can give much more agency to AI to get some of that core prospecting work done. And it's a direct reflection of the conversion potential that you were deploying an agent versus a human against, right? When you think about your highest converting audiences, you have your inbound leads, you have your tier 1 accounts, your ABM accounts, right? These, logically speaking, have the highest conversion potential of your total addressable market. And these should be the audiences that you are prioritizing rep-led activities within, right? Because those particular relationships and experiences are going to rely on much more of those right brain aligned task excellence. But as you move away from that, sweet spot target of your, ICP bullseye, and you move into much lower converting audiences, but audiences that are still required, right, to engage today in order to hit your total meeting goal or total pipeline goal, this is where AI starts to be a great partner and extension of a sales rep. Think about your, target accounts, but they're ice cold. Think about your tier 4 leads, right? Your recycled lead backlog. These are audiences that you still need to be panning for gold within, but you likely can't justify exclusive human capital against today, right? You don't have the headcount. You don't have enough hours in the week, right? 75% of reps are saying they don't have any more time to deploy against prospecting activities. These are great audiences to deploy AI much more thoughtfully against. Because when that particular audience, if you are leveraging the right type of technology, starts to increase those buying signals and that conversion potential starts to accelerate, it should be able to intelligently loop the sales rep in so they can take it across the finish line, right? And so only if you're able to make investments and architect your go-to-market prospecting strategy with this type of framework in mind, do we really see teams actually pulling themselves out of this pipeline slump and actually leveraging true tech as a teammate capabilities. And so using tech as a teammate, it really does capitalize on these 3 trends that I guarantee everybody dialing in today is experiencing at least 2, if not all 3 of these, right? Top-down AI innovation demands from executives, check. Tech as a teammate satisfies that. Your urge for consolidation, right? If you are a part of the 94% of businesses that are going to be reducing their tech stack and spend in the next 12 months, great. Tech as a teammate can help accomplish that for you. But then this is really where the beauty happens. If you're able to combine the best of what reps have been doing and finding success in with the best of what agentic AI has to offer, this is really going to be the unlock with that desired rep workflow simplification that businesses are demanding today. So for folks who don't know us, we are Regie.ai. We like to say we've been doing AI since before it was cool, and it's quite funny that a company founded in 2020 in this space can be considered tenured. But we really have been pushing the envelope and capabilities of Gen AI and automation to scale modern prospecting for teams well before the ChatGPT craze broke out. And we're one of the earliest innovators, and honestly, people have been thinking about how to best unite AI agents and humans into a harmonious workflow, because we really do believe that this is the future of business. We do not believe the future of business is going to be exclusive AI agents, reducing your SDR and Salesforce because these agents can do everything. No, we actually believe that the businesses that will win at the end of the day are going to be the ones that understand how to operationalize those workflows simultaneously side by side. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about how we're tackling it here, I really hope you could drop me a note via LinkedIn, via email. I love talking about all things AI, especially when it comes to operationalizing it inside our really precarious teams and tech stacks. But thank you so much again to Signals for having everybody here today. And I hope that you all enjoy the rest of Talk AI Summit.